Okay, guys. Sorry, I had to take a drink of water. We just finished our opinion organizer, the frame. So this is kind of like a house that we have built, but we only have the walls up. We don't, or the foundation and the walls, so we don't have the drywall and all the other things, okay? So we need to put the drywall on. So let's go ahead and talk about what goes in each one of these boxes. Now, what I have done in the past with my students is those students who are actually taking TCAP that year or any type of state testing that year, the first year, I have them practice writing this over and over again. So by the time TCAP or whatever state test they're taking gets around, they know it like the back of their hand. So let's fill in these and fill in the blanks here to help us when we actually start writing. So the first thing that you are going to do is you are going to make a question mark. Okay, a question mark. There it is, a question mark. Now, that question mark symbolizes a question, because we always want to, when we write, to do something called hook the reader with the question. So we'll go over that a little bit in more detail when it comes to actually writing based off of our organizer. So I'll tell you a little bit more information about why that's there and what that's supposed to remind you of. Okay, so I'm going to write my question mark and do a line, okay? And then here I am going to leave that blank because I'm going to write something here that's going to be based on what I read in my prompt, what I pulled apart in my prompt. So hang tight. So the only thing I want you to do is the question mark, and I'll tell you more about that later, and then the dash, okay? Question mark dash. Now, after that, that's going to tell me that's my first sentence. We're actually going to have another sentence in the opinion box, or the opinion organizer in our first box, okay? And that statement, or that sentence, is always going to start with I believe. So I want you to go ahead and write down I believe, okay? So in that first box, you're going to have a question mark and a dash, and then the words I believe. That's all that you're going to put. I know right now it doesn't make any sense, but I promise you it will. We are just walking through how we start out our opinion organizer before we put all the things in it to create our writing. Okay, so once again, first box, this means the first part of your paragraph. You have your question, dash, and then the words I believe. And I believe are the words you're actually going to use when you're writing. I'll talk more about that when we get to writing our actual paragraph. Okay, next part in the box 2. We're always going to start this sentence with the word first, comma. First, comma. So I want you to go ahead and make sure that comma is on there. Also make sure that your F in the word first is capitalized, since it's the beginning of a sentence. Okay. Now in the box with the 3, this is going to be the next part of our paragraph. We're going to write the word next, comma. Make sure that you have an uppercase N, which tells you that that's the first letter of a sentence, and then make sure you have your comma. And in the last box, we're going to write the word finally. Same thing. Make sure the F in finally is an uppercase, because it is at the first letter of a sentence, or it will be, and then your comma. Okay, and then in your last box, 2 words, okay, 2 words. The first one is in, space, second word is conclusion. And then if you guessed comma after that, you are right. So take a moment, make sure your box looks like my box. If you need to rewind or rewind, You guys probably don't even know what that is. But anyway, if you need to rewatch anything, please don't hesitate to go back and rewatch anything that you may need, or you could practice doing your opinion organizer with this video, because that's the purpose. Once you have this down and you know exactly what to put, then you're ready to fill it in in order to write your paragraph.